vendors.
Correct. So it was not a competitive. Let me try to explain what the discrepancy, because a competitive bid is very different than a no competitive bid, and I'll just explain why. We know that your testimony yesterday, when you said, again, I'll quote, it went out to a competitive bid, is untrue. The reason we know it's untrue.
In this congressional oversight hearing, questions about government spending and federal contracting take center stage. Representative Joe Neguse presses Kristi Noem about a controversial $220 million advertising campaign launched by the Department of Homeland Security. At issue is how the contract was awarded and whether standard federal procurement rules were followed. Oversight hearings like this are designed to ensure transparency when taxpayer money is involved.
Objection. The gentleman from Colorado is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Madam Secretary. Thank you for being here. I want to discuss in greater detail the expansion of advertising in your department under your tenure, and I believe you testified regarding some of these matters yesterday in front of the United States Senate. In particular, I want to discuss the department's $220 million ad campaign. This is the ad campaign that featured you at Mount Rushmore. You're familiar with this ad campaign, correct?
I am familiar with it. It was an ad
So
campaign that was.
I'm going to ask you some questions about it, Madam Secretary. So, as I understand it, this is a $220 million ad campaign. It's split between two contractors. One of those contractors got $143 million. That contractor is called Safe America Media, correct?
As the exchange unfolds, the discussion highlights broader questions about accountability, government contracting, and how public agencies justify major spending decisions. This moment illustrates a common tension in congressional oversight: the difference between a fully competitive federal contract and a limited or expedited procurement process. Representative Joe Neguse is questioning whether the Department of Homeland Security followed standard procedures before awarding a large advertising contract. Federal agencies sometimes bypass full competitive bidding when officials argue that urgent circumstances require faster action. However, such decisions usually require formal documentation explaining the justification. The discussion about the contractor, Safe America Media, also reflects broader concerns lawmakers often raise about transparency, political connections, and the use of taxpayer funds. For viewers,
Correct.
Okay. That company is affiliated with a former political director of the National Republican Congressional Committee. Now, yesterday you testified, I think I'm quoting you right, you said, quote, or in reference to this contract, that, quote, it went out to a competitive bid. Do you stand by that statement?
It was a no-bid contract where two vendors were.
It was a no-bid
chosen.
contract.
If it would have been a no-bid contract, if I'm using that correctly, it goes out to two different vendors.
Correct. So it was not a competitive. Let me try to explain what the discrepancy, because a competitive bid is very different than a no competitive bid, and I'll just explain why. We know that your testimony yesterday, when you said, again, I'll quote, it went out to a competitive bid, is untrue. The reason we know it's untrue is because under federal law, your agency is required, whenever the agency decides to skip competitive bidding, to file a notice with the public explaining why. And in this case, your agency filed a notice. You're aware of that, right? Justification and approval for other than full and open competition. Your agency made a decision not to proceed with competitive bidding, and one of the contractors that got the award was this Safe America Media Company that received $143 million.
Many vendors got the chance.
Watching this exchange, an important question emerges. When governments move quickly on major contracts, how should oversight balance speed with accountability? This exchange between Joe Neguse and Kristi Noem reflects a central function of Congress: oversight of how federal agencies spend public money. Disagreements over procurement processes, contractor selection, and Inspector General investigations are not uncommon during hearings like this. What makes moments like these significant is the broader principle behind them, ensuring that government actions remain transparent, accountable to taxpayers. Whether viewers see the questions raised here as a
with the
routine
public
part of
explaining why.
democratic
And in this
scrutiny
case,
or as
your
political
agency filed a
confrontation.
notice.
The debate
You're aware
highlights
of
how
that,
complex
right?
federal contracting can be.
Justification
What
and
do you think
approval
about this
for
exchange?
other than
Should
full and
agencies have
open
more
competition.
flexibility in urgent
Your
situations?
agency
Or should
made a
strict competitive
decision
bidding always
not
apply
to
when
proceed
taxpayer dollars
with
are
competitive
involved?
bidding,
Share your thoughts
and
in the
one of
comments.
the
And if you
contractors
value
that
thoughtful,
got the award
fact-based breakdowns
was this
of political
Safe
hearings
America
and
Media
policy
Company
debates, be
that
sure to
received
like,
$143
subscribe,
million.
and follow for more
Many
in-depth
vendors got the
analysis.
chance.